Hello, I'm Forrester and welcome to my channel. This week I'm keeping things a little simpler with my Forrester Shares video, just to offer some of my thoughts of the Stellaris Federations DLC. As often happens whenever Paradox releases any kind of content, it's kind of taken over my life a bit this week. So there are 5 new features that the Federations DLC offers. The first is visible in the Empire Creator as new, unique origin stories. They give a little more flavour to customising and creating your own story, which is pretty neat. Given that Paradox games are all for replayability, for creating interesting stories, I really like the feature. I've got about 3 in mind already. The second feature is Expanded Federations, which is again a nice way to customise play. In my first co-op game, we both played as research empires, so forming a research federation was the obvious choice. And as the Federation gains experience, it unlocks new perks based on the Federation type, in our case some very powerful research buffs that further accelerate our playstyle. It took a little time to figure out how to optimise using envoys to boost Federation cohesion, but as we played through, it became pretty natural. Then there's the Galactic Senate. Aside from the obvious cue, I am the Senate, this is another detailed feature. Essentially, this is a place where the whole galaxy can grant buffs, debuffs, and is weighted to political power of each empire. There are a lot of subtleties within that, such as the Galactic Council, which puts more influential empires in the driving seat, as well as laws that change the weighting of different political sources, including economy, fleet power, research, and population count. I find the mechanic fairly interesting. We've been using it to bend the galaxy to our will, for better or for worse. I'll be interested to try a playthrough to see if it's possible to decline joining the community, or if every race is bound by the buffs and penalties applied. There's also a new megastructure to give additional influence in the Senate. The fourth new feature is the Juggernaut. It's billed as a mobile starbase with a shipyard attached, and that's fairly accurate. Although the class features in the ship designer, it's not hugely customisable. For example, I seem to be stuck using Strikecraft when I don't want to be. I think it's too intended to be used as a support than an offensive or defensive platform to help replenish fleets that are on the attack. I'll spend some more time playing around with them, I think. Which leads to the final new feature, the Mega Shipyard. I am a big fan of this addition. The Mega Shipyard churns out ships far more quickly than regular shipyards, and with a boost to ship experience etc. that an optimised Starbase shipyard would offer. It reduces the pressure of rebuilding, refitting or creating new fleets across all ship sizes and classes. Essentially, it gives far more value to stockpiled resources than the time it takes to create a fleet, which as a more economic player I'm a big fan of. Plus, I love megastructures. All in all, I'm really enjoying the changes and new features. I've no doubt Paradox gets some flack for releasing so much paid DLC for its games, but I'm actually a big fan of how a DLC can revitalise the game. This week I've returned to a game that I'm very comfortable with after many hundreds of hours, so it feels familiar, but it also feels fresh and new with the DLC, and I'm looking forward to exploring more in the coming weeks. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments, so please share any fun or interesting things that you've done in Stellaris. And as it's my first video in a less formal structure, more of a fireside chat type deal, I'd love to hear your thoughts on whether you like this style or not. As ever, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll hear from me on the next one.